The stage, where dreams are born, where legends rise, and where heartbreak sometimes takes its final bow. Under the blinding lights, laughter echoes, applause thunders, and then, in an instant, everything stops. A comedian collapses mid-joke as thousands roar with laughter. An actor takes their final breath after a prop turns fatal. They leave not behind the curtain, but right before our eyes, their last performance written by fate, not by script. But these moments are just the beginning of Hollywood's most haunting stories. The 30 tales you're about to hear will take you beyond the glamour, into the raw, unexpected tragedies that silence some of the brightest stars. So grab your tissues, because what follows will break your heart and remind you that even under the spotlight, life can end without warning. Papa Wemba, the legend who died doing what he loved. Papa Wemba, the undisputed king of Congolese rumba, wasn't just a musician, he was a movement. With his golden voice and fearless sense of style, he transformed the sound of Africa, blending tradition with modern flair and carrying it to the world stage. As the face of the Sapper movement, he turned fashion into poetry and performance into art, becoming both a cultural icon and a global ambassador for African pride. On April 24, 2016, at a vibrant music festival in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, the legend took the stage one last time. His smile glowed beneath the stage lights, his voice soared through the humid night air, and the crowd roared with devotion. He sang with the same fire that had carried him for decades. Every note a heartbeat, every lyric a promise. Then, in an instant that felt frozen in time, he faltered. The band kept playing, unaware that the king had just given his final performance. Moments later, he collapsed before thousands of fans. Doctors later said it was heart failure, but to those who loved him, it wasn't a medical event, it was destiny. Papa Wemba's heart didn't stop. It burned out, consumed by the same passion that had fueled his music for a lifetime. His passing sent shockwaves through Africa and beyond. Yet his legacy endures. A melody that never fades, a flame that refuses to die. He didn't just sing. One fan said he lived every song. Papa Wemba may have fallen on stage, but the light he brought to the world will keep shining. In every rhythm, every voice, and every soul he inspired. Kostatich, the flame that burned bright, only to fade in the spotlight. Kostatich wasn't just a rising star. He was a force of nature. Bursting from South Africa's vibrant music scene, he fused rap, dance, and electronic beats into something entirely his own. Every performance was electric. Every lyric carried the pulse of youth, ambition, and a dream too big to be contained. He wasn't just making music, he was redefining it. But on the night of March 11th, 2023, that dream met its tragic end. Under the blinding lights of the Ultra South Africa Festival, Costa stormed the stage like a god of rhythm. The crowd roared as he danced and flowed with unstoppable energy, each beat echoing his passion for life. Then, in a split second, everything changed. Costa staggered. The crowd thought it was part of the show, until he fell. Still, in true performer's spirit, he rose again, pushing through with fierce determination. But moments later, he collapsed once more, and this time he didn't get back up, despite frantic efforts from medics. The flame that had once lit up stages around the world was gone. The news shattered millions. A symbol of creativity and resilience, gone in the very place he loved most, the stage. That night, the lights dimmed, and the music stopped, leaving behind only echoes of a legend who gave everything to his art. Kostatich may be gone, but his rhythm still beats in every heart that felt his fire. The songs, the moves, the fearless energy, they remain. Like a flame that burned too bright for this world, his legacy will never fade. Christina Grimmie, the angel who fell in the arms of her fans. Christina Grimmie, the girl with the voice of an angel, once lit up the voice stage and the hearts of millions around the world. She wasn't just another rising star. She was a radiant soul, humble, fearless, and overflowing with love for her fans. Every song she sang carried warmth, purity, and an innocence that felt heaven-sent. But on the night of June 10th, 2016, that shining light was cruelly snuffed out. After an emotional concert in Orlando, Christina did what she always did. She stepped off stage to meet her fans with that same bright smile and open arms. She laughed, signed autographs, and hugged everyone in line, never treating anyone like a stranger. Then, in the blink of an eye, the unthinkable happened. A man approached quietly, and in one senseless moment, the sound of joy was replaced by screams. Chaos filled the air. Christina, the girl who gave nothing but love, was struck down by violence she never deserved. Despite desperate efforts to save her, she passed away at just 22, an age when dreams are still unfolding and life is supposed to be beginning. Her loss broke hearts across the world. Fans wept not only for her talent, but for the goodness she carried in her soul. One fan wrote, "Christina was the light in the darkness, the voice that comforted the soul." And they were right. Christina Grimmie wasn't just a singer. She was a reminder that kindness, faith, and love still exist in this world. Though she left too soon, her voice continues to echo, soft, pure, and eternal, like an angel who never truly left us. Dimebag Darrell. Dimebag Darrell, the guitar legend silenced by tragedy. He didn't just play guitar. He made it scream, cry, and speak a language only true metal fans could understand. Dimebag Darrell was more than a musician. He was a force of nature. As the soul behind Pantera and later Damageplan, his electrifying riffs redefined heavy metal, leaving an imprint that time could never erase. Every note he struck burned with passion, rebellion, and pure creative fire. But on the night of December 8th, 2004, that fire was extinguished far too soon. While performing at the Alrosa Villa Club in Ohio, Dimebag poured his heart into the music until chaos erupted. A gunman broke through the crowd and stormed the stage. In seconds, the unthinkable happened. The sound of gunfire drowned out the music, and the legend fell on the very stage he lived for. The world of rock stood still. Fans wept, bandmates collapsed in disbelief, and the silence that followed was deafening. Dimebag Darrell wasn't just another musician lost. He was a symbol of pure artistry and fearless devotion. His legacy continues to roar through every guitar riff that dares to reach the heavens. Sib Hashian, the final beat beneath the waves. Sib Hashian wasn't just a drummer. He was the heartbeat of classic rock. As the powerhouse behind the legendary band Boston, his thunderous rhythms and unmistakable style defined an era. From the moment their 1976 debut album Boston hit the airwaves, his drumming ignited arenas and stirred the souls of millions. With his trademark curls bouncing under the stage lights and a passion that radiated from every strike of the snare, Sib didn't just play music, he lived it. On March 22, 2017, the sea became his final stage. Aboard a cruise ship filled with fans reliving the golden age of rock, Sib sat behind his drum kit once more. The night was alive. Guitars roared, the crowd sang, and his drums echoed into the open ocean. Then, in the middle of the set, everything stopped. Sib suddenly collapsed behind his beloved kit, his sticks falling silent mid-beat. The crowd froze. The music halted. Despite every desperate effort by the medical crew, the rhythm of his heart could not be revived. He passed away surrounded by music, applause, and the sound of the waves, the same forces that had carried his spirit through life. His death left an emptiness no encore could fill. He left the sound of his heart in every beat, a close friend said softly. And it's true. Even in silence, his rhythm still lingers. Sib Hashian's final performance became a hauntingly beautiful farewell, a drummer's last song to the world, played beneath the stars and carried forever by the sea. Nick Menza, the drummer whose heartbeat became the music. The drums fell silent at the height of glory. Nick Menza, the thunder behind Megadeth's most iconic era, carve his name into rock history with every fierce, razor-sharp beat. His work on Rust in Peace didn't just define a sound, it defined a generation. Each strike of his drumsticks echoed rebellion, precision, and raw power. Even after parting ways with Megadeth, Nick never let the fire fade. He kept the rhythm alive, pouring his soul into every performance. On the night of May 21st, 2016, he took the stage in Los Angeles with his band OHM, lost in the music that had been his life's language. The crowd roared as he unleashed a storm of rhythm, every pulse a reflection of his undying passion. Then, in an instant, the music stopped. Mid-performance, Nick collapsed behind his beloved drum kit. The audience froze, disbelief filling the room. Paramedics rushed in, but fate had already played its final note. Nick Menza passed away doing exactly what he was born to do, playing his heart out for the world to hear. His death sent shockwaves through the rock and metal community. Yet, even in silence, his rhythm lives on. Nick's legacy isn't just in the albums or the stages he conquered. It's in the eternal echo of dedication, passion, and love for the art that defined him. The drums may have stopped, but Nick Menza's beat will never fade. Bruce Hampton, the final song on A Night of Tears. Colonel Bruce Hampton wasn't just a musician. He was a force of nature. For more than 7 decades, he redefined what music could be. With a guitar in hand and a soul that refused to follow the rules, Bruce turned every performance into an emotional adventure. He didn't just play notes, he painted feelings. And for countless artists, he became a mentor, a legend, and a living embodiment of creative freedom. On May 1st, 2017, the Fox Theater in Atlanta glowed with celebration. It was Bruce's 70th birthday, a night filled with laughter, music, and the kind of energy only he could summon. Friends, fans, and fellow musicians gathered to honor the man who had given his life to sound and spirit. The stage lights shimmered, the audience swayed, and Bruce, ever the showman, led them through waves of pure musical joy. Then, in a moment no one could have imagined, he dropped to one knee, still clutching his guitar. The crowd cheered, thinking it was another one of his unpredictable performances. But seconds later, the joy turned to confusion, and then to silence. Under the same lights that had always embraced him, Bruce collapsed and never rose again. Despite the desperate attempts to save him, the music stopped, but only for a moment. Because that night, Bruce Hampton didn't just leave this world, he transcended it. His final act was performed exactly where he belonged, on stage, surrounded by love, sound, and applause. Colonel Bruce's passing was a heartbreak that rippled far beyond the Fox Theater. Yet, there's beauty in how he left, in the middle of his song, in front of his people, doing what he loved most. His legacy remains a melody that refuses to fade, a reminder that true artists don't die. They simply become the music itself. Valencia Prime, a star who burned brightest in her final moment. Valencia Prime wasn't just a performer. She was a force of love, pride, and authenticity. As a proud voice of the LGBTQ+ community, she used her music to celebrate acceptance and self-expression. With her radiant smile, boundless energy, and voice that seemed to soar straight from the soul, Valencia inspired everyone who ever felt unseen. On the night of September 12, 2022, at a small club in Philadelphia, the air was electric. Valencia stepped on stage like she always did, fearless, glowing, alive. The lights danced around her as her voice filled the room, powerful yet tender, turning every lyric into a prayer of love and belonging. Then, at the very height of her performance, just as she hit that breathtaking final note, silence fell. Her body gave way under the same lights that had celebrated her. Panic erupted, but it was too late. The star who lit up so many lives had taken her final bow. Her passing sent shockwaves through the community. Friends, fans, and fellow artists mourned not just a performer, but a symbol of courage and unity. Valencia Prime's legacy is more than music. It's a heartbeat that continues to echo in every space where love dares to shine. She lived brilliantly, and though her light went out too soon, its glow will never fade. Barbara Weldon's The Melancholy Pause on France's Stage. Barbara Weldon's was more than a singer. She was a force of nature draped in melody. With a voice that could tremble with tenderness or roar with fire, she carried the soul of French chanson into the modern age. On the night of July 19, 2017, inside a centuries-old church in southern France, Barbara walked onto the stage glowing with life. Her eyes sparkled beneath the warm stage lights as her voice filled the air. Deep, poetic, and heartbreakingly human. She sang of love, freedom, and dreams that always seemed just out of reach. Songs that mirrored her own restless spirit. The audience sat spellbound, caught between her passion and her pain. For that brief, brilliant hour, Barbara wasn't just performing. She was the music, the beating heart of the night. Then, in the middle of a crescendo, everything stopped. Her song, her movement, her breath. Barbara froze, a flicker of confusion crossing her face before she crumpled to the floor. Gasps echoed through the hall. The crowd rushed forward, desperate to help, but it was too late. The voice that had just soared to the heavens fell silent forever. The cause, a fatal electric shock from faulty sound equipment, left France reeling. A young talent, lost in an instant, doing what she loved most, performing. In that tragic final moment, Barbara Weldon's became immortal, a reminder that passion can both give and take life. Her stage may now be empty, but her voice still lingers, haunting, radiant, unforgettable. Barbara lived like her songs, fiercely, vulnerably, and without pause. And though she left mid-performance, her story will echo forever, carried by every heart she once set aflame. Silver King, the final fight of a lucha libre legend. Silver King wasn't just a wrestler, he was a force of nature. A living legend of Mexico's lucha libre, he spent decades captivating the world with his masked mystique and unbreakable spirit. Beneath the silver mask was a man who lived for the roar of the crowd, for the artistry of combat, and for the pride of his homeland. On May 11, 2019, in London, that passion met its final curtain. The arena thundered as Silver King made his entrance, his mask gleaming, his stance unshaken. Every move, every strike reminded the audience why he was considered immortal in the ring. But in a heartbeat, everything changed. Just as he was about to deliver his finishing move, he suddenly froze, then collapsed. At first, the crowd thought it was part of the act, the drama of lucha libre. But soon, reality sank in. The referee knelt beside him. Medics rushed in, and silence swept over the arena. Despite every effort, Silver King never rose again. A heart attack had claimed him mid-battle, in the very ring that had defined his life. He passed doing what he loved most, surrounded by fans who worshipped him. His death sent shockwaves across the wrestling world, leaving behind not just grief, but reverence. Silver King's body may have fallen, but his spirit, fierce, proud, and eternal, still soars in every arena where the crowd chants for a hero. He lived, fought, and died a legend. Owen Hart, the unforgettable tragedy that shook the WWE. Owen Hart wasn't just another name in the ring. He was a legend in motion, known for his sharp wit, electric energy, and the unforgettable persona of the Blue Blazer. Owen brought artistry and heart to every match. Fans loved him not only for his athletic grace, but for the light he carried. A rare mix of humor, humility, and pure passion for wrestling. But on May 23, 1999, during WWE's Over the Edge event in Kansas City, that passion met an unthinkable fate. As part of a daring stunt, Owen was set to descend from 24 feet above the ring, suspended by a harness meant to create a breathtaking entrance. The lights blazed, the crowd roared, and then silence. In an instant, the cable malfunctioned. Owen plummeted into the ring before thousands of stunned fans. At first, many believed it was part of the act, but within seconds, the horror became real. Efforts to revive him failed, and the arena that once echoed with cheers fell into disbelief and grief. The tragedy sent shockwaves far beyond that night. The WWE Universe mourned not just a fallen performer, but a man whose kindness, humor, and integrity defined him as much as his in-ring talent. Owen Hart's death remains one of the darkest days in wrestling history, a painful reminder of how fragile life can be, even for heroes who seem untouchable. Yet his spirit never left the ring. His laughter, his courage, and his love for the sport still echo in every story told about him. Owen Hart may be gone, but his legacy will forever stand as a symbol of passion, talent, and heart, the kind that only comes once in a lifetime. Juan Carlos Formel, the Cuban legend who died with his music. Juan Carlos Formel wasn't just a musician, he was the heartbeat of Cuban soul. With every strum of his guitar, he carried generations of rhythm, passion, and pain, blending them into melodies that spoke to the very core of humanity. Born into a family of musical royalty, he inherited not just talent, but the responsibility of keeping Cuba's vibrant sound alive. In 2023, while performing in the Bronx, New York, Formel took the stage with his usual quiet grace. The crowd swayed to his music, lost in the warmth of his guitar and the nostalgia of his voice. For a moment, everything felt timeless. But then, in the middle of the performance, the rhythm stopped. His fingers froze on the strings, his eyes drifted toward the lights, and before anyone could understand what was happening, he collapsed. The audience gasped. The music fell silent, and the air turned heavy. Despite desperate attempts to revive him, Juan Carlos Formel's final note had already been played. He passed away doing what he loved most, sharing his music with the world. His death was more than a tragedy. It was the closing verse of a life devoted to harmony, culture, and love. Formel's legacy isn't just in his songs, but in the way he made people feel connected, alive, and proud. Though the man is gone, his melodies still drift through the air, carrying the spirit of Cuba wherever they go. Juan Jamlon, the star who collapsed under the spotlight. Juan Jamlon was more than just another influencer. He was the heartbeat of a generation. A proud face of the Filipino social media scene, he captivated millions with his warmth, humor, and raw authenticity. Every post, every live stream felt like a conversation with a friend who understood your struggles and cheered for your dreams. His smile was his brand, his energy infectious. But on November 5th, 2023, that light dimmed in the most shocking way. During a lively live stream, Juan appeared as he always did, glowing, confident, and full of life. The chat was exploding with hearts and laughter when suddenly, a sharp sound pierced the air. A gunshot. The camera jolted. The laughter stopped. Within seconds, the screen froze, leaving thousands of fans in stunned silence, watching disbelief turn into heartbreak. Juan Jamlon was gone, just like that. His sudden passing didn't just shake his followers. It broke the collective heart of a generation that grew up with him. He wasn't just an online star. He was a friend to millions, a symbol of resilience, and proof that you could touch lives through a screen. Even though Juan is no longer here, the light he shared continues to shine. In every smile he inspired, every dream he sparked, and every soul he lifted. Red Fox, the comedian who died the way he lived, making people laugh. Red Fox wasn't just a comedian. He was a force of nature who redefined laughter in America. With razor-sharp wit and fearless humor, he became a cultural icon, especially within the Black community, thanks to his unforgettable role in Sanford and Son. From smoky stand-up stages to the glow of television lights, Red Fox built a legacy out of pure, unapologetic laughter. But on October 11th, 1991, the joke that made the world laugh turned painfully real. While filming a scene for the royal family, Fox suddenly clutched his chest, smiled faintly, as if playing one last gag, and collapsed on set. At first, the crew thought it was part of the act. It wasn't. Moments later, the room filled with panic, and the laughter that had defined his life was replaced by silence. A heart attack had claimed the man who gave everything to comedy. He lived for laughter, and he left in the middle of it, a friend later said through tears. To this day, Red Fox remains more than a legend. He's a reminder that even in our final moments, the spirit of joy can shine brighter than sorrow. Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin, the fearless crocodile hunter, lived and died for the wild. With his boundless energy, infectious smile, and unmistakable Australian charm, he became a global icon of wildlife conservation. Whether wrestling crocodiles or rescuing endangered species, Steve's love for animals wasn't just his job, it was his soul's purpose. Every roar, every laugh, every crikey came from a man who believed nature deserved both respect and protection. But on September 4th, 2006, tragedy struck beneath the turquoise waters of the Great Barrier Reef. While filming an underwater documentary, Steve was pierced in the chest by a stingray's barb, a sudden, fatal strike that silenced one of the world's loudest voices for nature. His death stunned millions. For his family, his fans, and the entire conservation community, it felt like losing the heart of the wild itself. Yet even in death, Steve Irwin's legacy roars on. In every rescued animal, every protected habitat, and the fearless spirit he passed on to all who love the natural world. Carl Winda. Carl Winda, the great circus artist who fell at the height of his glory. Carl Winda, the fearless founder of the legendary Flying Windas, was more than a performer. He was a symbol of human daring. Night after night, he defied gravity itself, walking the tightrope high above roaring crowds who held their breath with every step. His balance seemed otherworldly, his confidence unshakable. But on March 22, 1978, in Puerto Rico, fate took a cruel turn. As Carl glided across the wire that had defined his life, one brief slip shattered the illusion of immortality. He fell before a stunned audience, leaving silence where there once was thunderous applause. His tragic fall didn't just end a life. It closed a chapter in the history of circus artistry, a time when men like Carl Winda dared to touch the sky just to remind the world how fragile courage can be. Les Harvey, a musical flame extinguished too soon. The gifted guitarist of Stone, the Crows, wasn't just playing music, he was living it. Every note he struck carried raw emotion, the kind that made crowds feel alive. But on May 3rd, 1972, in Swansea, Wales, tragedy silenced that fire. In the middle of a live performance, a faulty microphone delivered a deadly electric shock. In an instant, the stage went from euphoria to horror. The audience stood frozen as Harvey collapsed, his guitar slipping from his hands, its final chord echoing like a farewell. A rising star, gone in a heartbeat, leaving behind a silence that still haunts rock history. Zoltan, the voice that burned too bright. Zoltan, Hungary's unforgettable music icon, built his legacy on raw emotion and a voice that could pierce through the soul. Every note he sang carried fire, pain, and beauty all at once. But on May 12th, that voice fell silent forever. In the middle of a live performance on Swedish television, Zoltan was at the height of his glory. The lights, the crowd, the music, all merging into one final moment. Then his voice cracked, his body trembled, and before anyone could react, he collapsed on stage. His heart stopped as millions watched in disbelief. The world was stunned. No one knew what had truly happened, only that an artist who lived through his music had died in the middle of it. Paul Walker, the golden-hearted daredevil whose smile could light up a screen and whose passion burned as bright as the engines he loved. The world knew him as the charming Brian O'Connor from Fast and Furious, a symbol of loyalty, speed, and brotherhood. But behind the fame was a humble soul devoted to his daughter and to helping others. On November 30th, 2013, fate struck cruelly. While riding in a Porsche Carrera GT with his close friend Roger Rodas, the car lost control, slammed into a utility pole, and erupted in flames. In an instant, the world lost not just an actor, but a spirit that embodied adventure and kindness. Paul's life ended too soon, but his legacy races on, in every roar of an engine and every heart that still remembers him. Vic Morrow. Vic Morrow, the silver screen legend whose final scene became a real-life tragedy. Known for his intense performances and commanding presence, Morrow had built a reputation as one of Hollywood's most compelling character actors. But on July 23, 1982, during the filming of Twilight Zone, the movie, fiction turned to horror. While shooting a dramatic Vietnam War sequence, a helicopter suddenly spun out of control. Its rotor blades sliced through the air, struck a tree, and came crashing down. In a matter of seconds, Vic Morrow and two young child actors lost their lives on set. The industry was shaken to its core. What was meant to be a moment of cinematic magic became one of Hollywood's darkest nights, a haunting reminder of how quickly art can turn a tragedy. Edith Webster. Edith Webster, the actress who died in her final act. It was supposed to be just another performance, a night of applause, lights, and emotion. But June 13, 1954, became the night theater itself held its breath. Edith Webster, a gifted stage actress known for pouring her soul into every role, was in the middle of a death scene when tragedy struck. As she delivered her final lines, she collapsed to the floor, her character's death eerily blending with her own. The audience, believing it was her most powerful performance yet, erupted in applause, unaware that Edith had truly taken her last bow. Only when she failed to rise did the curtain fall on reality. Her sudden passing from stroke stunned the theater world, silencing a rising star whose promise would never be fulfilled. That night, art and life became one, beautiful, haunting, and heartbreakingly final. John Eric Hexum. John Eric Hexum. From a rising star to a haunting death over a prank, John Eric Hexum, a handsome and promising actor, made a strong impression with his role in Cover Up. He was a rising star with the entertainment industry expecting him to shine brightly. But everything came crashing down in an instant. On October 18, 1984, during a break on set, he playfully joked around with a prop gun from a scene, unaware that even blank cartridges could cause fatal harm. A gunshot rang out, and John Eric was gone forever. Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee, the son of martial arts legend Bruce Lee, was destined for greatness. With his piercing eyes and quiet intensity, he was more than just an actor. He was the living echo of his father's legacy. His breakout role in The Crow was meant to launch him into superstardom, a dark, poetic hero who blurred the line between vengeance and tragedy. But fate had a cruel twist in store. On March 31, 1993, while filming one of the movie's climactic scenes, a prop gun that was supposed to be harmless fired a real bullet. In an instant, the promise of a brilliant future was gone. Brandon was just 28. The world didn't just lose a rising star. It lost the continuation of a legend, a story cut short before its final act. John Ritter. John Ritter, the man who could make the world laugh, even on its darkest days. With his irresistible charm and perfect comedic timing, he became a household name through classics like Three's Company and 8 Simple Rules. But behind that infectious smile was a heart that would one day betray him. On September 11, 2003, while filming, John suddenly collapsed on set, clutching his chest in unbearable pain. Doctors later revealed it was an aortic dissection, a rare and deadly tear in the heart's main artery. The news spread like wildfire, leaving fans and friends stunned. Hollywood didn't just lose a gifted comedian that day. It lost a man whose laughter healed others, a devoted father, and a soul who made every room brighter just by being in it. Goodbye to Gravity. Goodbye to Gravity, the band consumed by fire and immortality. Goodbye to Gravity was more than a Romanian rock band. They were a symbol of youthful fire, passion, and rebellion. Their concerts lit up the night, uniting fans in a pulse of freedom and sound. But on the night of October 30th, 2015, that fire turned deadly. During a packed club performance, sparks from a pyrotechnic display ignited the stage foam. In seconds, joy became chaos. Flames devoured the venue. Smoke filled the air, and the music was silenced forever. Several band members and dozens of devoted fans never made it out. What was meant to be a night of celebration became one of the darkest chapters in Romania's modern history. The tragedy didn't just claim lives, it shattered dreams and scarred a nation. Yet, even in ashes, goodbye to gravity's spirit endures, a haunting reminder of how fragile life can be and how art can burn brightly, even when the lights go out. River Phoenix, the flame that burned too bright. River Phoenix wasn't just an actor, he was a feeling. With those soulful eyes and that fragile, magnetic energy, he seemed to carry the weight of the world even at 23. He rose from child prodigy to one of Hollywood's most promising stars, delivering unforgettable performances in Stand By Me and My Own Private Idaho. Critics saw him as the voice of a generation, raw, emotional, and real. But behind the gentle smile was a young man haunted by inner storms. On October 31st, 1993, outside the Viper Room, River collapsed, the victim of a fatal drug overdose. One night ended what could have been a lifetime of brilliance. The world lost more than an actor that evening. It lost a soul who could have changed the language of cinema. Even decades later, his absence lingers, like a song that ends too soon. Fans still whisper his name with both admiration and heartbreak. River's death wasn't just a Hollywood tragedy. It was a reminder that even the brightest lights can burn out too fast. Do you still feel the ache when you think of River Phoenix? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that honor Hollywood's lost legends.